Alright, this is going to be a weekly recap for the 22nd of February to the 25th. There was no trading on the 21st because that was President's Day. And I had a total of 8 trades. Only 4 of them worked out, 50% winning percentage. But something that I really noticed from this week compared to last week, two different things actually. Number one, I did do an improvement in that the setups I traded, 75% of the setups were according to my dollar risk level, which means I wasn't, for example, undersized like I was struggling with the other week, which was at 25%, and now it's at 75%. But one also thing to know, another thing is that it looks like a lot of the setups did not really play out this week. There were a lot of these not here, which means the setup that I was in didn't work when I got in, but eventually over some time it did play out the thing that I was trading it for, and it offered a nice move to the upside, but I just wasn't a part of it. So maybe that means that I need to, if the setup doesn't work there and it drops to another level, or maybe it uptrends to a higher level depending on the setup, I should try it again and be a part of that, because it really sucks if you try to go in for a certain setup, it doesn't work out, you cut the trade, and then you see it might play out again, but you feel burnt out because you just tried it and it didn't work, and then you didn't do anything, you hesitated, and then it doesn't end up being another loser, but it actually works out, and then that's frustrating. So I definitely want to try that and get better in that sense. And it looks like I did have a few listed stock trades, a little more than usual, and generally just listed stocks, because of the way they are, they tend to be a much bigger percent loss, and that's totally fine really. But unfortunately this week was kind of ruined because I had this one where I was oversized. As you can see here, this is a morning panic bounce play. It didn't work again when I got in, and this one ended up being something where I traded a $45 risk level, which is not ideal at all. At least right now with morning panic bounce play setups, anywhere from a $10 to a $30 risk level, depending on how good the setup is looking, is what I trade. And this one I was just oversized. Not all morning panic bounce plays are gonna work. Most of them do when I trade them. This one just happened to be one that didn't work out, and it happened to be one where I was pretty oversized, and that really sucks. But what's the chance that that's gonna happen again? I just have to keep going. But yeah, I lost 24 bucks this week, and that was with $2,500 of trading volume, dollar volume. Definitely, I want to go over these trades and see what I can do to get better. But so far, it just seems like I need to try the setup again if it doesn't work, when I was in, but it's offering another opportunity. Let's look at ILUS for the 22nd, and this was a morning panic bounce play. So let's look at ILUS. 22nd is here, which is not a very significant red day, and since it's a morning panic bounce play, I'll just highlight it from here. I was in at 935, 12.8, so 935. Let me try to bring this a bit closer right here. 935 was this green candle, 12.8 right here. So I saw the drop from 14 to 12 and a half, and it's had a slight uptrend, and I got in right here. I remember this trade. I got out of it really quickly because I didn't like, once I got in, and the setup is there and everything, how close VWAP was to the level that it's trading. I've seen that happen multiple times, that when it's just way too close to VWAP, it doesn't work in downtrends and makes another leg down. And I got out the same minute at 12.85, so I barely made anything, and that was the right call to get out of it, just because it wasn't looking too nice. I was in and out, right here, 12.8, and I got out at 12.85, and yeah, you can see it did get to the day low right here, and then a little baby uptrend, and then it really was nice here. You can see the volume in this, these two green candles was significant, but I like how this was the day low, and then it finally broke it here, which would ideally wipe out a lot of toxicity. Maybe a lot of people who were trying to be penny pinching, you know, trying to sell their shares at the ask, and then it breaks a day low. They all panic, they get out. And then now with this level right here, a good distance from VWAP, makes it much more ideal. And this was a nice turnaround. If you go back to the 22nd, I actually tried to get in at that turnaround right here, but I wasn't able to get filled. And this was an ideal, you know, one that, you know, worked, and they got past VWAP from this 12.6 level to the 13s, and that would have been a pretty nice one. I just didn't get filled. I remember this trade. And an example where it didn't work here when I first tried it, which was back in here, but if I were to have tried it here and have been filled, that would have been super nice. So it seems like so far, at least with the first trade, I need to, you know, try the setup again if it looks like it's gonna play out, you know, at a different price level. So that's the first trade with ILUS, and let's go to the next one, which is INTK on the second. No, actually, no, not the second day, the same day. Downtrending trend line break. Let's look at INTK. This one has a much nicer daily chart, way nicer. 22nd is right here. And I was in at 10.29 at 35. So let me just zoom in a little closer. 10.29, which was right here at 35. Really good entry at the bottom, so probably a fill at the bid. And why was I in this setup? I was in this setup because it was a downtrending trend line, and it failed. Not failed, but it, you know, it stopped working. I would say give or take, you know, maybe right here is where I had the trend line, which, you know, is different here because it's on TD immediate trade and I trade on E-Trade. But essentially the idea was that this thing was downtrending, but you can see right here it got out of this line, so ideally it could try to turn around, consolidate, make a move towards the upside, but this one actually followed it just one more time. You know, it tried to escape it here, it failed. Some big volume, so obviously this didn't play out because there were some people who were dumping their shares because they had a lot of shares to sell, and then they all panic sold, and that looks like when it eventually turned around from this 32 level to 40, which was actually pretty significant in terms of percent difference. Same idea with ILUS, just people with a lot of shares, you know, they prevent the stock from making a move when I'm in it, and then, you know, once they get wiped out, that's when it actually turns around. So maybe I need to look for volume, big volume, to see some kind of a potential turnaround. Just wiping out all the toxicity and allowing the trade to uptrend. Let's see when I was in and out. Again, 10.29, which was right here at 35. All right, yeah. I guess right when I thought maybe it was going to break past it, or maybe it broke past it on my E-Trade chart. And at 10.33, I got out at, let's just go with 355. 10.33 was right here, and I was out 355. So right here, I was out basically. I just probably didn't like the price action. Yeah, I didn't like the price action. And this is another example. Again, it didn't work out here, but it worked out later. Just one more move. Once it broke past the trend line here, now it actually made a move towards the upside. Much less volume, but again, didn't work out when I was in it, but maybe I should try again later. DWAC is the next trade, and this is a listed stock. Let's look at DWAC for the 22nd. Okay, so this one had like a nice daily chart. And that it looked like it was trying to do some kind of a breakout, and the breakout level to me was 90, but let's look at the 22nd and highlight the entire day. And this was later in the day, so at 325, and I got out 329, so let's probably just, no, let's leave it the way it is. I'm not going to zoom in. So 325 was right here, 325, and I was in at 93.30. So right here, I was in. And why was I in it? I just liked how, this thing is putting up higher lows. It's slowly uptrending. And I like how it broke past VWAP. And then I thought, okay, it breaks past VWAP. And then maybe it's going to downtrend and then be the next higher low. And then continue to move towards the upside. It ended up working, but not when I was in it right here. I should have probably been more patient or at least maybe try it here and it didn't work out. But I like how it dropped to 90 here, which was the original breakout level, and it did uptrend more to 94. I could have tried here again at 90 and then risk this 90 level breaking, and that would have been the setup. It was just that, okay, broke past VWAP, here's a dip, let's buy, and then it makes another move. It didn't work out here, but I could have tried it again once it broke under VWAP and played around that breakout level on the daily chart, which, if you ask me, would be 90. And let's just see what's happened since. It's trying to uptrend, but it's not looking that nice anymore. And yeah, I was in and out, 325 and 329. You can see the difference was 10 pennies. Let me get rid of these extra zeros. That was it. 325, 329. So again, I was in here and I got out 329 right before this big red candle. Probably oh, I remember. I didn't like this right here. This just seemed kind of sketchy the way it tried to make a move towards the upside, and it just got sold into, and I thought the volume was kind of massive. I didn't like it. But I don't think it was wrong trying it here. I just should have tried it again when it got to that original breakout level, and it held. If it were to have broken it, and I would have tried again, too bad, but that was the case there, and I didn't trade according to my dollar risk level, so I mean, it was so small. It's just an expensive stock. I probably should have tried 3 shares, but that's fine. Let's look at the next setup, which was the one that kind of made the week. And it was a morning panic bounce play that just didn't work when I got in. Very surprising, just like the other one. Seems like I do need to try these things more than once and have that mental capacity to just keep going. Let's look at MDMP for the 23rd. If it lets me. Right here's the 23rd. Not that bad at all because it kind of broke under this 15 level. Not a bad red day to consider a morning panic bounce play at all. Although it would have been nicer if maybe it was larger. But let's look at the 23rd. Right here, let's just highlight it from there. And I had 2 entries. My first one was at 934. And let's see if I can remember it. But my average ended up being this 1347 level. 934. I remember being here at 1368, I believe, right here. And I thought this was the morning panic bounce play bottom. It looked like it was trying to turn around. The next candle broke under it a little, and then it kind of made a move towards the upside, and then went back. And that's pretty much something that kind of trapped me. But maybe I should have been quicker to get out of that first position and then enter in again later. But what happened was is that I was in at this 1368 level here, and then I added another 3,000 shares because this was a 6,000 share position. 3,000 shares here, 3,000 shares here, and even if I had just 3,000 shares, that's a $22 risk level. Probably should have just traded 1,500 shares, and then that would have been a $10 risk level, and then I would have done it again right at 3,000, and then I would have lost only 10 bucks, which obviously still isn't ideal, but I was just oversized. And what happened was is that let's see, when I got out, 942, I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, so I remember this. I got in here. Okay, I don't like this, but big volume, maybe it's going to turn around. It's trying to turn around, and I tried multiple times to try to get out of my position. Maybe I should have been less greedy, but the problem is that it will trade with a wide spread, like this 13.1 to 13.5 level. So I would try to sell my shares at the ask, and I ended up being the same thing I was talking about earlier, just trying to sell. All these people trying to sell at the ask, and then it breaks the day low, and here's the big volume, and people got out. And, you know, I figured that this was very similar to IOUS and that this morning panic bounce play is super close to VWAP. And I was just trying to sell, you know, profitably, and I just wasn't really able to. And I had to cut the trade at 942, and I got out at 13.1. 942, 13.1 right here is when I got out. And my average is 13.47, which is at this level right here. So yeah, even if I were to have sold at the very tippy top of this little turnaround here, I wasn't in at a great price. It didn't work out here this morning panic bounce play. Very similar to IOUS. It tried here, you know, broke the day low briefly, and then it made the turnaround that worked. So maybe that's the way morning panic bounce plays have mutated into. I'll keep watching that, but if this seems like a common pattern, maybe I won't even try the first one, and maybe the first one will go without me. But when it does something like this, I can be a part of that. It could be my first trade, and I can you know, maybe trade with Sykes, because it's something I've seen happen more often than not consistently, and, you know, make a nice move towards the upside. So again, I tried it here, didn't work out. I cut it here at 13.1. And why did I get out at 13.1? Because of the fact I saw 100K sellers show up at the ask, and I thought, all right, this is not looking nice. We're so close to VWAP. You know, it might not work out. Big seller shows up. Let me get out. Big volume downtrend. It got to 12.7. Let's just see what a sell at 12.7 would have been. That would have been worst case. And as you can see, that would have, I guess, followed perfectly the, you know, idea that, you know, it breaks the day low, which was, in theory, the risk level here, and then add some slippage. So I guess that's how I calculated it. It's not an exact size, but I was oversized in this trade, and it didn't work out. And then once it finally did work out, it made a nice move from this 12.6 level to 14. So what is that? That is like 16% gain. That would have been super nice. Ideally, again, doesn't work when I try, but when it does it again and it seems like it might play out at a different price range, I need to try it again. That's what it seems like, what I should be doing for this week. Let's look at IMPP for the 23rd. This is a listed stock. Didn't work out. Double bottom at VWAP. So let's look at IMPP for the 23rd. And this is the 25th. 23rd should be here. All right, and I was in at 11.55, and I got out 11.59. 11.55 at 1.8. Let's just say 118. Let's probably just zoom in a bit closer. 11.55 was right here. Okay, so this is the idea. I saw the nice subtrend, you know, really nice. Came back, double top right here. It has a drop, and I thought, okay, you know, this thing was, I believe, you know, making a nice move, and now it dips towards VWAP, right? And maybe it can try to be a double bottom from this level right here. Here's the bottom here. You can see it was resistance here. Now it was support. And then now it drops to that level. And I was thinking, okay, you know, it's not just a double bottom with this and this, but this is also now like something that holds VWAP. This could be a setup that I can be a part of. And I remember seeing it right here, and I thought, all right, let me take an entry at 118, but let's just go and half my position size, because of the fact that it would be more ideal to get something in the 115s or the 113s. So because of the fact that, you know, it's right here, let me go and half my position. If it keeps uptrending from here, then I'll be able to profit from it. But if it comes back to the level I want to play off of, I'm going to add the other you know, half of the position, as long as it looks like it's trying to hold it. If it just breaks under it, then obviously that's something else, and I won't even add. I'll just cut my position. And that's exactly what happened. I got out at 11.59 at 115. Was it really? No, not 115. It was 111 at 11.59. So right here, this candle, and I got out at right about here was when I got out right here. The fact that I was in here, it didn't work out, you know, and, you know, I'm half my position because it could just fail, but maybe it'll just keep going. It drops to the level, broke under it, didn't like the price action. I got out here, It did get lower. It got to 105. It did an inverse head and shoulders here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and this one just didn't work out. I didn't like, okay, it offered the same setup here. No, because this was a double bottom off of this level. If it were to have broken it, which it did, it's not like I get to try that again. That's not, the same setup. Maybe an inverse head and shoulders here, but that was about it for that. So that was a good attempt. It just didn't work out. I was, okay, $1.75. If I were to have been in full sized, it would have been much closer to that $5 level. So let's go to the next trade. Not jump that much, jeez. Right about here. Let's look at HMBL consolidation dip by afternoon, the 23rd. Let's look at HMBL for the 23rd. Just an ugly daily chart. I mean, the thing is really dead. And I want you to note something here. So this is the 23rd when I tried it. Look at this right here, the 22nd. Just trading back and forth, and then it has a sell-off, consolidation, and then an uptrend from this, I guess, 13 to this 13.5 level, which isn't the best range, but this trade that I took right here, I would not have traded it only because of the fact that it worked here was why I was interested in trying it here. I want you to keep note of that. I was in at 236.11.9. So 236 was right here. 11.9. I did get a nice entry at the bid at 236. Is that right? Yeah, 236. 11.9 right here. Doesn't even show where I would have been in at 11.9, but I think I got filled in two pieces. I'm not extremely sure, but I was completely in at this point. And I was thinking, all right, same thing. Maybe it can do the same thing. Consolidation, breaks under, consolidates, and now it makes a move. Now it makes a move to the upside. And you can see this didn't work, and it looked disgusting, right? Somebody with a lot of volume for this stock just sold, and it made a downtrend, and I got out at 241.1178. So right here, 1178, right here was my exit. Essentially, when it was breaking under this 11.8 level, the range low, is when I got out. Very good exit at 1178. It did get as low as 11.2. And sure, it came back, but it was all sketchy. And at that point, I was no longer interested in it. And it's, you can see it continued to downtrend and make a move towards 10. So this setup just did not work out at all. It's not like I could have tried it again later. It just did not work out at all. Not a setup I would have really have tried anyway, but because of the fact that it looks like it did it before the other day, that's why I tried it. It didn't work out. That's fine. Two more trades left. Let me get a drink of water. I'll be back. All right, let's look at the last two trades, and we got ILUS and IMPP. ILUS was a morning panic bounce play that kind of worked, so let's look at that for the 24th. 24th is right here. Okay, this was a sketchy day. This is when like the whole market was selling off, just freaking out over this thing. And then once the news finally came out that Russia legitimately invaded Ukraine, it just shut up. And I thought that was ridiculous, but apparently that's a normal thing with the market. Like when Pearl Harbor happened, when all of these horrible news, 9/11 happens, like the stocks are just downtrending, and then once the actual thing happens, it just shoots up. It's just like so backwards. But next time something like that happens again, the markets are just selling off because of this fear. And then once the news is finally in, it's like it just uptrends. And I thought that was dumb, but I wanted to note that because that kind of reflects with the trade I took here with ILUS. And now at this point, I see you can say head and shoulders inception, but shoulder, the head here, and now the shoulder. Here's the bottom. He's trying to bounce back. And maybe you can say shoulder, head, shoulder. Now we can say something that we have a high here, and here's a lower high. So now we're gonna, at least me, to consider maybe longing for a longer period of time. I want to see what this is gonna do. If it's gonna break above this level, it's gonna be ideal. If it doesn't, if it makes like another lower high off of this level, maybe this could be the sign of a bear market and it might try to downtrend over a longer period of time, or maybe just consolidate. But right now, this is what I see. So just really backwards, but I guess it's just something you learn from the markets, I guess. And yeah, let's look at the 24th, right? Yeah, the 24th of ILUS. 24th is right here. So essentially everything was pretty much down OTC wise, and I picked, I think, the worst one out of all of them. There were other ones like DPLS that, you know, offered a gap down or a morning panic bounce play, and I could have been in that one. That worked out much nicer, but I picked ILUS just because I'm more comfortable with it. I've traded it multiple times then. I got in at 9:39, almost 9:40, and notice I was barely in the setup for less than you know, a minute. 11:25. Let me zoom in a bit more, and again, that was at 9:39 right here. 9:39. I got in at 11:25, so a pretty good entry right here, and it did work out. I mean, sure, you know, it started the uptrend, right? Consolidate right at VWAP, the thing I've mentioned before, and then it broke it finally, right? And then it continued the uptrend and it got to the 12s. And notice the position I traded, 5,000 shares. This one would have been pretty profitable. 940, I got out at 11.31. So 940, I was out 11.31. When I got out, it was looking very ugly, like it was gonna fail, but this thing did eventually uptrend. The issue is that I got out of it because this entire thing was based off of how the overall markets were reacting to, you know, the news that the thing happened with you know, those two countries. And I was just worried that, you know, the markets could just continue to downtrend immediately. We're just 9 minutes into the market open. It could start to downtrend, and maybe some more fear just starts pushing in because it's very crazy emotional the first few minutes of the market open, especially on this day. And, you know, I was just worried that I'm in this position here, and then something happens with the overall markets. It starts downtrending more. Then this thing starts to downtrend, and now it's all ugly looking, and, you know, I get out for a loss. And maybe I should have just continued to hold on to it and just stay to my risk level, which was um, the day low, so 939. Again, was right here. I was risking a day low at 11, so maybe if it were to have gotten to 11, I would have gotten out. But maybe I should have just stuck to my dollar, my risk level right here, and I would have been able to maybe not have gotten this perhaps, but I would have been able to maybe sell this thing at VWAP or slightly above VWAP. Let's just see what a sell at 11.5 would have been, just to get an idea. That would have been a lot more profitable. So yeah, that was the case there. Maybe I just needed to have more guts, but I've just never experienced that before. It's not like I have, you know, so much of my you know, so much experience trading stocks. Like 25. It's not like I was around in 2008 trading stocks or something like that, but um, somehow it just, when the news are just confirmed, or the whole fear and speculation, you know, and then once the news actually shows up as a confirmation, it's just options. And I thought that was ridiculous, but that was the case with that one. Let's look at the last one, and this was a short settle with IMPP on the 25th. Let's look at IMPP for the 25th right here. Yeah, very crazy move from this 57-cent level to $2. Here was the 25th, and this thing uptraded the entire day, and I was short. Y head and shoulder setup, and that was at 11.55. I was short at 178. It just didn't work out. Right here, 11.55. Why was I short? Head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder. Let me zoom in a bit more. Right, actually not that much. It makes it look kind of ugly and hard to read, but you know, I was in right here, 11.55, short at 11, not 11, 178 right here. shoulder, head, shoulder. It just didn't work out. I didn't like ideally broken this 173 level, the neckline, and make a downtrend, maybe cover at VWAP, which would have been nice. Let's just see what a cover at 165 would have been. Yeah, that would have been a nice percent gain, nice amount of money made, but it just didn't work out. And I had a cut. It got to the 184 level that I was thinking of cutting, and I was out of it at 1158 right here. And I got out at this level right here. Sure, it came all the way back, so I could have maybe have gotten out of it break even, but I still would have lost because I had to pay $1.70 to reserve 100 shares of short, and also this thing could have just broken the day highs and made a big short squeeze. I'm not about to just play games with stuff like that. I'm gonna cut it right at the level. Even if it comes back and I would have gotten out of it break even, because one day it might not do that. It might just break the day high, big volume, and now we got halted, and then, oh shoot, I'm covering at $2.08. That's really bad, and I avoid that. So it just didn't work out here, and just in fundamental terms, it wasn't really the best setup because I've seen a lot of breakouts happen from this 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. level a lot of times, especially on a Friday when shorts don't want to be perhaps short over the weekend to pay those extra fees and all of that stuff, and then news can come out over the weekend and really cause a gap up the next day. If it was maybe on a Tuesday, maybe this could have played out, but not on a Friday. And yeah, that's about it. It seems like there's setups that I pick that do work out, but not when I got in it. Maybe I need to be patient and just wait a little longer, perhaps, or I think I should just try it. Doesn't work out, but if it looks like it's going to do it again at a different level, I'm going to take that. I think that can help me be a bit more profitable. Also, I didn't mention it, but with this trade with MDMP, why was I oversized in the first place? I was used to trading ILUS. As you can see, for example, here, I traded 4,000 shares, $10 risk level, and so this one is 6,000 shares, $45 risk level. So if I were to put 6,000 shares here, $15 risk level, and that was two entries of 3,000 shares. So as you can see, 3,000 shares, $7.50, 3,000 shares, $22. The difference is that I got used to trading ILUS a lot with a lot more of a position size than I would normally trade it, because of the fact it trades with a very small range, and MDMP is a regular one, so this is kind of cool. But in theory, 1,000 shares is a $10 risk level in most cases, right? As you can see, it's just under it. So I could have done 2,000 shares, and that would have been a just under $20 risk level. But because ILUS is one where it trades with such a small range, if I only trade 1,000 shares, which should be a $10 risk level, because it trades with such a small range again, that's $2.50. So essentially, I went into this way oversized because this one isn't like ILUS. It trades with a proper range. It even has a spread. So that's kind of why I got in trouble with that one. So if it's ILUS, I'll consider trading larger than what I would normally trade, just because the range isn't that nice. But on other ones that are normal, like this one, I need to stick to that. In theory, if I liked it, maybe a $15 risk level, so 1,500 shares, and because I was in it twice, that would have been 3,000 shares. You see how I would have lost a lot less. That's essentially the case with that. That's all I have for this week. Ideally, I can do better, this upcoming week, and I just probably need to try to set up again if it seems like it's trying to offer the same thing again at a better price, because I don't want to trade it. It doesn't work out, and then it worked out eventually. I want to be profitable, and that's what I'm going to work towards.